Now, the question was about the Latinos. And so Harris is trying to shift how she's talking to the Latinos. Don't think she's going to do the bodega breakfast taco shtick that Dr. Jill Biden did. But here is what Politico is telling us, saying that she's going to change the way that she's targeting the Latino voters. And it's a risk, they say. They're getting nervous. It's a risk. But she's frank. She doesn't know what to do. They're losing. Harris doesn't often talk about her Black and South Asian American identity. And she's not talking to Latino voters about theirs either. Now, it's a major shift in how Democrats are targeting Latinos. And it's a rebuke of other efforts to win Latinos. But after Democrats hemorrhage supports from Latinos over the last decade, Harris is attempting to chart a new path, including the way she's courting Latino voters in Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. In those states, they are targeting ads in both English and in Espanol, Spanish-speaking Latinos, to talk about the economy that she's wrecked, high drug prices, and crime, which she's caused. And I think the high drug prices is part and parcel of them. They monopolize. They're big pharma. They're the party of big pharma. They mandated you buy drugs from Pfizer. They were nuts. So Harris, in a Spanish language radio interview that aired earlier this week, they gave the drug prices companies basically total monopolies. So why do you think the prices are high? Because they enable them. In a Spanish language radio interview that aired earlier this week, she stressed her support for stationing more immigration agents at the border. Yeah, no, they were in charge of the border. They opened the border wide up for the last 3.5 years. There's two records, Trump's records and Kamala's. It's no comparison. The Harris campaign understands what we've been saying about Latinos for a long time, which is that we're not a monolith. They treat everybody like that, though. And you got to imagine people, you have to be sick of it. Like I would be sick of it if somebody just say, hey, Rob, you're just a white Catholic person and you only care about these things. And so here you go. These are only your issues. And we expect you to vote for us no matter what, even when we stab you in the back a million times. To be like, get the hell out of here. But that's how they treat people. Latino strategists on both sides of the aisle said the strategy reflects the diversity of Harris's staff. Maybe she's going to pretend to be identify as Latino now. Latina. She'll be Latina. Kamala Harris will come out. Hola, amigas. Me llamo Kamala. Muy bien. Good to see you, right? She'll be doing the whole shtick again. She's already changing her accents. Maybe she'll even harder. The strategist said the campaign approach demonstrates a nuanced understanding. They care about the diasporas and looking at a form of this as a strategy. So they're going to go find all the little contingents of Latinos around the country and target them. But they're struggling. They can't cobble together their usual constituencies. The Harris campaign is devoting $3 million to new ads in Spanish language radios. Maybe that'll help. And they say, all of us Latinos, we want to get comprehensive immigration reform done. No, we don't. We want to secure the border. How about that? And that's what America needs. Now, the question also has been, where has Kamala been? She did her little patty cake game with Oprah, and that did not go very well. Even Oprah was looking at the camera like, oh, gosh. She came out, I'm a gun owner. I'm going to shoot you in the head. Okay. Interesting. True. First of all, does she actually own a gun? We don't really know that. But the question has been, if she is struggling right now, she's going to have to do something about this, right? If these polls are what they are, and you hear Democratic pollsters saying, we think we're undersampling the Trump people. He's actually got a bigger number behind him. What are they going to do to change the trajectory? And in a month ago, it was all hope and joy. They had the media that was riding their climactic event. They hadn't been touched by a real politician in 3.5 years because Joe Biden was sniffing over their shoulders for 3.5 years. So then Kamala comes out and, oh gosh, we got somebody who can talk a little bit. So they were very excited about it, but then they realized she's no different than Joe Biden. She's basically the same dude. So is she going to come out and do more interviews? The Oprah thing, is she going to do more Oprahs where she talks to people like they're 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds? We love our country. We do. Think about it. Okay, Kamala. Are you going to do more interviews or not?
Today in Georgia, she's going to be in Wisconsin tonight. Yet she's not sitting down for regular interviews or fielding questions from the press. Certainly not to the degree that her counterpart Donald Trump is. Why? Why is she not doing more interviews to talk about her policies and answer some of the questions that voters have about
she's terrible
policies and on her change on her views and some of them?
Jack, she's done interviews, and I know that we would love, or you would love, to see her sit down every single day with CNN and do interviews. But she's a very busy person. She's the vice president as well as a candidate, and we heard her today talk about her views on these policies. It may not be in the format that the media would like. It may not be that she's sitting down doing a one-on-one interview, but we heard her today in Georgia talk about her stance on reproductive freedom.
So she's just going to continue to hang out as much as they can, but the clock is ticking. So they're going to have to do something. Somebody who does do interviews is President Trump. And he's telling us that if this is not a victory this November, that he's not going to be doing this thing again. And I think that makes sense, mathematically speaking and age speaking and so on. But the idea is that this is a do or die situation for the right. If Kamala wins another 4 years, we've seen what they've already done in the last 4 years, which is gobble up all the institutions of power to leverage them for their own self-interest. If they have another 4 years, the whole country's going to be not America anymore, even more than it's already been dilapidated. But here is Trump saying, this is it. And it reminds me of the American Revolution in a way. Growing up in social studies and civics class, right, they taught you that the British soldiers, the redcoats, when they came over, they didn't have the same fire and the fury as the Americans did because it was their homeland. There was nowhere else to go. And it was a do or die situation for them. Feels like there's some echoes of that today. Let's listen to this excerpt of this interview with Trump.
New tonight, former President Trump says he will not run for president again if he loses the election in November.
If you're not successful this time, do you see yourself running again in 4 years?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that will be it. I don't see that at all. I think hopefully we're going to be successful.
That's right.
And this was in an interview recorded on Friday.
Hopefully we are successful. We're just going to win. We're not even going to have to talk about that. Now, something else Trump brought up, which is raising some eyebrows, is this mass deportation stuff. And we've talked about this and talked about the practicalities of this and how troubling it would be in many ways to have the federal government going door to door and rounding people up just as a matter of precedent in America. Not something that we would want to see happen, even if we do not want millions of illegal aliens in our country. The question is, how do you get them out? And how does this whole thing go down? And so this is Trump, again, moderating on this a bit. He's coming to the middle. As we talk about here regularly, this is regular political exercising. But during the primaries, everybody's getting on a bus and getting the hell out of here. Now we have the general, and Trump is saying, well, we're just going to start with the criminals and we'll just focus on that. And maybe it's a hint that we're not going to have those mass deportations that everybody was talking about. Let's get this audio up.
On immigration, which you've mentioned, most people seem to think that you can tighten up the border. And for the untold millions who are here illegally that you referred to, you've talked about a mass deportation program. How is that practically possible? Because a lot of the millions of people have had children here who are American citizens. And don't you think the first time there is an image on television of a family tearfully being told to board a bus, that whole program would end?
That's right. If you take a young woman with two beautiful children and you put her on a bus and it ends up on the front page of every newspaper, it makes it a lot harder. So we're going to look at it very closely. The way you phrase it is exactly right. You put one wrong person onto a bus or onto an airplane, and your radical left lunatics will try and make it sound like the worst thing that's ever happened. But we're getting the criminals out, and we're going to do that fast.
Okay, so criminals is where it is going. And I think that's a natural development. I'm not sure people want to see the federal government and federal agents going door to door and rounding people up from their homes. That's Trump moderating more towards the middle.